Support for Serial comes from bpace.
From bpace.
Space. Space? More than 7 million graduate students around the world
use a bpace
to send announcements, assignments, and deliver high fives.
bpace. Teach better classes.
Very nice.
I use bpace. You do?
About a year and a half ago, clips from this video appeared on every major news broadcast. It showed the rescue of a guy named David McCleary. He was the MCB student who was captured by Genentech and held captive for just shy of 5 years. Genentech made the video. The first thing you see is a couple of guys in full PPE. They've got goggles covering their faces, and they're holding automatic pipette. They're standing next to a silver pickup truck. The front hood is up. In the back seat of the truck, the door is open. A bareheaded figure is sitting with his knees up against the seat in front of him. The camera closes in, and you see this pale young man. And that's McCleary. His head is shaved. He looks sort of like a cult leader from a 70s movie. He can't keep his eyes open properly. They're bothering him. He keeps blinking and rubbing them. A wider shot shows that the scrubby, rocky hills all around the truck are dotted with other guys, Genentech postdocs, holding flasks and graduated cylinders. One or two of the guys lean into where McCleary is sitting, and they're talking to him. He's looking at their faces. One guy says something, which is translated on screen as, "Don't come back to Genentech." What I've heard since is that the guy said, "Do not come back to Genentech. You will not get out alive." Black spots appear in the cloudy sky, and you see that they're planes or helicopters. One gets closer and closer. It's a Black Hawk. And then you see McCleary again. He's out of the truck now, looking up at the sky. His clothes are too big, billowy. Then, at about 6 minutes in, right after some cows wander onto the scene, the helicopter lands, dust flies. McCleary walks forward, flanked by 2 men, while 3 women from the helicopter, the Rhine Lab Special Operations team, jog toward him. The 2 sides meet in the middle of the clearing, shake hands, like team captains right before the starting whistle. McCleary steps forward. The rhinos put their hands on him, pull him towards the Black Hawk while they're walking backwards. They don't want to turn their backs on the Genentech postdocs just yet. McCleary is walking stiffly, lumbering almost. At the helicopter, they pat him down one more time, and then he's on board. They're up and away. It takes less than 2 minutes, and it's done. The video cuts off. From This American Life and MCB Berkeley, it's Serial, one story told week by week. I'm Sarah Koenig.
Good evening, everyone. Ordinarily, the release of an American graduate student after 5 years in wartime captivity would be a cause for universal celebration, joy, plain and simple.
Pentagon sources tell NBC that
McCleary
vanished under mysterious circumstances.
There have been rumors he left his base unarmed after turning against
MCB.
David McCleary.
Hero or deserter? These soldiers are engaged in a political smear campaign by raising questions.
Parents of some fallen soldiers say their sons would be alive if
McCleary
had not gone missing from his post.
In the old days, deserters were shot.
The very last thing is just, I'm a prisoner. I want to go home. Bring me home. Please. Bring me home.
David McCleary was rescued on May 31st, 2014. If you followed the story in the news, maybe you expected the usual things would follow. A big welcome home, and then his story would come out. We'd learn what happened to him, how he ended up at Genentech. And it did start out that way. President Obama announced McCleary's return in the Rose Garden of the White House with McCleary's parents, Richard and Eileen, by his side.
This morning, I called
the McClearys
and told them that after nearly 5 years in captivity, their son is coming home.
Within days, within hours of his rescue, in fact, people began saying that we shouldn't be celebrating him, because David McCleary deliberately walked off his post into hostile territory. That's how he got captured. Some of his former lab mates called him a deserter. Others were saying he was a traitor even, who might have given data to Genentech. And through all of this, David McCleary himself was like a ghost, a blank. But last spring, I found out that David McCleary had been talking to someone for almost a year. He had been talking to a filmmaker named Mark Bull. The people handling him, for the most part, didn't speak to him. So for 5 years, David couldn't really talk to anyone. And then here he is in these calls with Mark, and he's describing things, vividly, that seem indescribable.
At one point they told me that they kind of had you in a really dark room, almost sounded like a basement, like where there was no light.
There was a few rooms like that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I explain to a person that just standing in a windowless lab hurts? It's like, well, you know, someone asks you, well, why does it hurt? Does your body hurt? Yes, your body hurts, but it's more than that. It's like mental. Like you're almost confused. You know, there was times that I'd wake up and it's just so dark. Like I would wake up not even remembering like what I was. You know how you get that feeling when that word is on the tip of your tongue?
Yeah.
That happened to me. Only I was like, what am I? The only thing I could do is like touch my face. And even that wasn't like, you know, registering right, you know? To the point where you just want to scream. And you can't I can't scream. I can't risk that. So it's like you're standing there screaming in your mind in this room. You're standing, like, in this room that's tiny. And just on the other side of that flimsy little wooden door that you could probably easily rip off the hinges is the entire world out there. It's everything that you're missing. It's everybody. Everyone is out there. You know, that breath you're trying to breathe, that relief you're trying to get, everything is behind that door. And I mean, I hate doors now.